Welcome back to Future Gals Part 2. Where we left off, we were introduced to two women, presumably from the future, and they came in naked. So, let's continue where we left off with Leona, which I believe is the one on the left on the screen, the one that's that way. Not the blonde, but the other one. I believe that one's Leona. So Leona says thanks. Ariel puts the sleeve to her nose and takes a big sniff. Okay. I just love the smell of wood. I thought you were Leona. I'm confused who's who. That's creepy. Alright. I keep forgetting we don't know you like that yet. Like what? I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Earlier you said you experimented on yourselves? It might have been a little reckless, but sometimes you have to take risks for science and love. Love? That's right, we came back to the past to be with you. How convenient. Is this some kind of practical joke? Did you utilize state-of-the-art technology and quantum physics just to play a prank on me? I don't even have fret. You really are a nerd. Much less love interest from the future. Sorry, I almost choked on the impossibility. That's no joke. In the future, we're both in love with you, which is to say that we're currently in love with you, or at least a future version of yourself. It's sort of complicated. I'm still in love with him the way he is, even now, complete stranger. She's happy, just ignore her. Okay, this one's Leona. Until, like, the next scene where their names swap. True love triumphs over all, Leona. Sappiness and all. If you're in love with my future self, then why are you here? We can't be with you there. Although we can't get into the specifics of why. 'Cause I'm probably dead. Why not? It could influence your decisions and change the future too heavily. And coming back in time doesn't change his decisions at all? According to our calculations, nerd, we've showed up on the correct date. You should start your research on the Super Collider in 7 days. Does that sound about right? My heart leaps into my throat. I seriously get the position? Of course you do. I forgot how full of self-doubt you were when we first met. Shh, Ariel, we have to be careful about what we say to him. That's right. Sorry, I'm just so caught up in all the excitement. We can tell you that your research and ours will lead to the ability to travel back through time, just as we've demonstrated for you. And since we have that ability, we've come here to be with you here. As long as your research continues, we will complete our research as well. My research? The women give me a few moments to digest everything. My thoughts move faster than the girls did when traveling through a black hole. The black hole. So I'm on the right track after all. I'm going to make significant discoveries in the world. And my eyes flicker between Leona and Ariel. I like this one more. I'm going to be caught in some kind of strange time travel love triangle. That part makes my thoughts trip over each other, so I opt to focus on the practicalities of the situation. But you've already figured out the necessary equations and harnessed the energy. Why not start from scratch? Because these are your accomplishments, not just ours. We didn't come back here to rob you of your achievements. Everything you need to achieve, what we just did, is already in there. Blech. She taps on my forehead. We're not going to steal your glory, even if we may have spoiled the story a little bit. If you can't travel too much as to not risk changing the future, what's your end goal? Spending a few days with me? That's very suspicious. This visual novel came out before Among Us, for the record. Well, then the idea is that you'll have some time to get to know us, and then one of us will stay here with you, while the other returns to the future. Well, that's depressing. Of course, after that, we'll eventually reach the day we travel back in the future, and we'll return here to do the very same thing all over again. So we're kind of creating a loop where one of you will always be disappointed. No matter which one I choose, the other will be disappointed. Unless you end up screwing each other. In which case, then I'm disappointed. No one leaves this situation not disappointed. It sounds very risky. You could create an unstable temporal loop. Not according to our calculations, or yours, I might add. Have a little confidence in yourself. She flashes me a cheeky smile, but I'm confused about the whole situation. I think I must be understanding something. Ariel giggles softly. You don't understand why we love you, do you? No. It's funnier than it should be. Aha, I told you he would be this way. I predicted it, you know, that you would accept everything about what we were telling you, except for the fact that we both want to be with you. Let me simplify things then. Ariel and I both want to be with you. However, that's problematic as there are two of us and, at least in our timeline, only one of you. So we want you to choose one of us to be your girlfriend, lover, whichever your preferred term is. Choose one of us to remain here with you, the other will go back to our present. That's such a monumental decision to make. I should start thinking about it. You only have 7 days. What are you, the ring? If I don't choose in 7 days, are you gonna come kill me? 7 days? That's when you begin working on the Super Collider. Don't act like you don't have a lot of free time between then and now. But how can I decide something like this in 7 days? Why is it a choice I have to make at all? It's not that terrible. Your future self would agree with me if you could talk to him. But that would probably be disastrous. Right, we have to take care not to act with any of our future coworkers, but bearing that, our future timelines should stay more or less the same. More or less? All this reckless time hoping over what? Me? Me, generic fuckboy McGee? It seems so bizarre. I can't help but curious about the things these women must already know about the future and about me. Although I'm not sure about picking a lover. Packing. Just get in the suitcase! About picking a lover in 7 days, I want to entertain the idea a little longer. And it would be rude to turn someone away if they came all the way from the future just to see little old me. I know this is late, but shouldn't you guys zip up a little? People are starting to stare. The women take one look at the sea of eyes fixated on them and move those zippers faster than I thought was possible. Oh, thanks. Hehe. Anyways, where are you ladies staying? With you, of course, conveniently. In my giant-ass room. Let me get you something to wear. I only have men's clothes, though. Is that okay? I would friggin' hope you only have men's clothes. Unless, you know, your ex-girlfriend still kept her clothes in your room or whatever. The women stare at me until the embarrassment creeps in. Right, of course that's okay. Why would I have anything else? Yeah. It'd be better than standing around in nothing but a jacket. I quickly duck into my bedroom before returning with and handing out a couple of long t-shirts. They're what I typically sleep in, so they're comfortable, especially with shorts. Okay, well that's censored. What are you doing? I have a bathroom, a bedroom even. You can change there, anywhere with the door. Don't be dramatic. It's nothing you haven't seen before. Exactly. I want to make a good case for this. Which one is which? Ariel lets her hands wander over her body, and my eyes obediently follow them. Hey, no cheating. Oh, okay. So that one's Ariel. Wait. Leona pinches the woman's... There they a pitiful little yelp. Okay. So this is Leona, this is Ariel. It's not cheating, I'm letting him make an informed decision. He must be aware of all the details. Ariel says this while tantalizingly swaying her hips. I've never been treated so familiar by any woman before. Seeing as how I don't presently know these women, I can only wonder what my future self would make of all this. Is this typical behavior for them? They giggle together, seemingly to enjoy each other's company despite being so-called rivals. And now they have clothes on. I swallow and look away as the women finally show a little mercy and cover up their skin. Are you sure being here won't result in some sort of world-ending consequences? Of course we're sure. Who do you think we are? Irresponsible? Well, you did just fall out of a black hole naked, so I wouldn't say you've made a great cause for yourselves. The women laugh again. We didn't know it would destroy our clothes. Besides, this is all we need. The shirts I provided for them have been neglected. They stand around my living room in nothing but long t-shirts which barely cover anything. The bottoms of the shirts brush against their thighs. I'm sure if they turned around or bent over slightly, I'd be treated to another peep show. But that seems to be their intention. And if this is what they want to do, what kind of an idiot am I to argue with them? With the women standing around in my small apartment, the situation leaves me with a sense of surreal detachment. Eventually, one just has to start nodding and accepting things as they appear. You can only fight against the facts for so long. Resigning to my fate, I finally sit down on the couch and decide that, yes, I now have two strange women living with me for the foreseeable future. They approach me, their eyes full of eager and excitement. Huh? You're warming up to us already, I can tell. I wouldn't say that. Ah, you wouldn't. Would you like to warm up to us then? We are engaged in final love after all. We need you to get to know us as intimately as possible. I'm down. You have a lot of world-changing to do in the future. You should enjoy the present while you still can. I'll change the world. My heart beats a little faster at the implications of those words. I was always told I had a stunning gift for physics, which happened to be nurtured by a very early and rigorous start to my schooling. But to know for certain that my endeavors are going to pay off. Will scientists around the world know my name? I start to daydream. I almost don't realize that a literal fantasy is playing out in front of me. An unrealistic one. The women approach me, circling like sharks. Well, one's attractive. One attractive shark and then another one. Well, Ariel reaches out and brushes... Are you Ariel or are you Ariel? I don't know which one is which. Ariel reaches out and brushes her fingers along my thigh, causing all the blood to rush down to my head, out of my head. Well, what? Let's get to know each other better. Are you Leona? Okay, this text box should be over here if Leona is speaking, and if this is Ariel, then she should be over here. Like, the text box should be Ariel here. If you're going to make a fully informed decision in such a small amount of time, we all need to be comfortable with each other quickly. Don't you agree that's rational? None of this is rational, but maybe there is some sense in it. Leona laughs. I can always appeal to your sense of reason. The women conspire amongst themselves for a moment, whispering excitedly at each other's ears. I think they're deciding what to do with me. Suddenly, the shirts I so graciously provided them are fluidly pulled off their bodies, dropping onto the floor. We'll get ready for a censorship. They asked me to get used to this, but I have no idea how impossible it seems. You're blushing so much, it's so cute. Am I? That's our job, you know? But I can't blame you. Look at this body.
Work out.
I'm a lot to take in. Leona rolls her eyes. Ignore her. You'll get used to this, you'll see. Just relax and let things progress naturally. Which I think they already are. The fingers that have been trailing along my thigh follow a path toward my stimulating growing. I expect to feel more shame than I actually do at being noticed like that. Either she's perceptive or I have a bad poker face and I'm not ashamed enough to apologize. Leona drops to her knees and Ariel settles beside her. Two beautiful girls, women, look at me up with such adoration, and enough to make my throat close a little, my vision narrowing. A primal, hungry urge fills my brain, driving out all of my thoughts of doubt and my many endless daydreams. I worried that I would be nervous about this, but in the heat of the moment, I don't have the headspace for uncertainty. I know exactly what I want. All I know is the desperate urge to be with these women, strangers or not. Let's get you out of these clothes. Pants are so last year. My turn. The women pull me free of my boxers, Ariel boldly taking me in her hand. Because we want to be fair to each other, we're going to do this together. Do what together? The women lean over. Oh. The women lean over, licking their lips before they lick and tease. A hard throb jolts through me, from hilt to tip, as their soft, warm tongues play with me in unison. Where are we going with this? This is on YouTube. They bump into each other, teasing one another's lips and leaving me messy and wet. If you thought that sudden zoom in was strange, I saw something that's not allowed on YouTube. The women plans are revealed to me as they crawl onto my lap, pressing their breasts together and trapping between them. They work their bodies against mine, their chests rubbing together in tandem as they whimper and moan at the sensation. My pleasure builds with the attention they lavish over me, their skin slowly gathering a soft dew of sweat. This is part 2. This is part 2. This is gonna be age restricted. Hope you're 18 plus watching this. I lean back to the couch, immediately overwhelmed by the sensations. Just like everything else the women have said and done thus far, it catches me fully unprepared. Every muscle in my body tenses, my thighs clenched as two beautiful women rub their bodies against mine, pleasuring me as they pleasure each other. The sensation is bliss, hot and unshakable. It's just sick enough with the right amount of heat. Proudly judged out from between the plush mounds, leaking a little bit of interest at the frantic attention. My head falls back for a moment, the muscles in my throat strain and my thighs tighten. The moment is approaching. I like that summary. The moment is approaching. I can't hold it at bay for long, no matter how much I want them to continue. The breathly moans that tip me over the edge. It's the smallest detail, but I hear the way one of them sighs, the tilt of her voice saying she's enjoying this too. I don't know which one is which. The hot, mind-numbing pleasure takes over. The finish is blinding. In the heat of it, I turn toward Leona. I don't know what compels me to choose her. She's hot. A base instinct at work. I pull free from the woman's grip, finishing all over Leona's face. My breasts. It spurts across her skin, lewdly marking her. It drips across her cheeks and slowly slides towards her steep cleavage, a chaotic and abstract artist's signature. She blinks up at me, her surprised expression still touched with hungry approval. She massages herself with her hands, not seeming to mind what I've done, although the realization only catches up to me after the fact, when that clarity settles in. I suddenly hear my own ragged breathing and feel the couch that's been beneath me the whole time. Shaking myself out of my haze, a full-body tiredness overtakes me. Did you enjoy that? Well, YouTube doesn't. But hey, at least I can say this is not for kids. I glance over at Leona, looking her body up and down, and growing a little flustered by my own actions. Usually, my afterglow is tarnished with a weird sense of shame, but not this time. Maybe it's because I'm always... maybe it's because it's always just my hand, and with no other interested parties involved. This is completely different, and I'm riding the high of it all. It really speaks for itself, doesn't it? Oh, I want special treatment next time. I just love a sticky situation. No, not for you. Leona doesn't comment. She picks a tissue from the table and dabs at her skin to clean herself off. But when she looks at me, there's an undeniable, excited sparkle in her eye. Women sleep for a long time. I guess traveling through time and space really takes it out of you. Or maybe it was that. But either way, I wake up in the morning hours, wedged between two women who are snoring softly. I'm caught in the tangle of limbs on my couch, Leona's head on my shoulder, and Ariel nested against my chest. I have no idea how they can be comfortable like that. And I feel bad for not offering them a proper bed. Some host I am. But the quiet morning gives me a chance to think about the oddness of the situation. I just woke up, but it feels like I'm still asleep. Like I should have woken up on my couch, alone, and confused with some questionable material playing on my laptop. It should all just be a vivid dream. But here they are, digging their sharp little elbows into my ribcage and smothering the life out of my arm until the tips of my fingers feel cold and dead. It's kind of enjoyable. The best inconvenience I've ever had. For a few moments, I let my frantic brain shut down. I lie on the couch and enjoy the company of the women and soft songs of the morning birds outside. Did the morning birds outside enjoy the view? I close my eyes and savor it. Blah. Leona stretches lazily when she wakes up, jostling Ariel into sitting up too. Learn this one's Leona, and this one's Ariel. The tips of my finger become stagged little pinpricks of pain running up and down my arm. I try to keep a straight face. Good morning, comfy! Ariel tosses herself onto my chest again, making me say, "Ooh!" before Leona pulls her away. At least let him wake up first. Oh boy. I glance at my arm where the tips of my fingers have turned almost blue. It's not like all of you is awake. She pokes my hand, but I don't feel it. I shake out my dead hand, the women giggling at my predicament and rushing me to help me, rubbing my hands and fingers. Here, I know what'll wake them up. Ariel leans over, she's gonna put my fingers in her mouth. Leona and I both look equally alarmed. Ariel! Leona slaps her fingers next to this woman's face, making her giggle. I just wanted to show off my skills. A preview of sorts. There's more to relations than such sexual compatibility, you know. Which is why we immediately jumped into that first thing. Of course there is. That's why I can show them quickly. And as it's important, given our limited time frame. Ugh. They're still going on about me having to pick one of them. How am I supposed to do that? Even on reality TV shows, they give people a couple of weeks to determine if they're compatible. 7 days is nothing. This is long-term permanent consequences. All the shortest I've seen is 90 days. So, I guess you're kind of right. Are you sick, Drew? You don't look well. She's right. You look very pale.
Are you okay?
Leona reaches out, placing a hand on my forehead to check out my temperature. I was thinking about actually having to pick one of you. What? Wow, such harsh words. You don't have to sound so tortured over your choices. If neither of us is good for you, you can just say so. But that's not what I meant. You've been awake for 5 minutes. It's too early to be mad at me. What do you want? I'll dye my hair, change my style. Grow taller, grow... Actually, grow taller twice. Or... Oh, do you like a certain kind of nose? I could get a new nose. Ariel, have some self-respect. No, I didn't mean that at all. The women stare at me, Leona with her arms crossed and Ariel looking tortured over what kind of plastic surgery she should get. For the record, I'm joking. I'm joking, okay? I'm joking. I just mean that it's a big decision to make. Not that you're both not lovely. You are. I'd be very lucky to pick you. But just the fact that I have to pick Leona and make such a significant decision is... I suppose that's different then. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. You can see how the week goes. If you still feel uncomfortable with it by the end of the week, I suppose it's enough of an answer. Doesn't sound like such a defeatist. If he hasn't decided by the end of the week, we'll find a new way to make him decide. If we can achieve experimental time travel for love, we can do anything. True love never gives up. We are very determined, but we can't make you do anything you don't want to do. That defeats the purpose of us coming here. This is meant to be an all-happy resolution, so if it doesn't, then what's the point? We can revisit the conversation in a few days. By then, you'll have gotten more comfortable with us. That's true. You've already told me I got the job I applied for, which seems just as unreal as the rest of this, but if that's true, that's a huge weight off my shoulders. At least I don't have to spend the next few days worrying about that. Exactly, this is your chance to have some fun. Fun? Yesterday's conversation with my professor comes to mind again. Are we gonna have a three-way? Social interactions. This is exactly kind of fun, or at least experience that I complain about missing out on. That sounds nice, actually. I'd like that. You seem so timid about it. I'm not timid. I'm cautious. I have a cautious nature. Am I not cautious in the future? The women exchange glances, frowning at each other. I guess not, as much as you are right now, but then we're practically strangers to you and living in your house. It's reasonable that you'll be timid and cautious. Whatever you want to call it, to appease your toxic masculinity and not seem like a beta male or whatever it is guys cares about. To me, every guy is a beta male. I'm a force of nature that shouldn't be reckoned with. Women power! Ariel throws up a couple of peace signs and giggles happily. The scrolls of that being called out my insecurities, I at last back into familiar territory. Well, if I'm gonna pick one of you to stay here, we should go about this intelligently. Even at the promise of having fun, being social, and getting to know a few beautiful and interesting women, I can't stop myself from being rational. It's who I am, and it's got me this far. We should spend every day together and decide on some activities to do. Like dates. Well, maybe. Only if you're alright with it being dates. We came for in the future to be with you and profess our love, but you still think we're not interested in going on dates with you? Yes. The idea of women liking me is hard to comprehend. Relatable. Leona sighs and rubs her hand over her face. This is gonna take a lot of work, isn't it? What's our first date? You said we're going on dates, right? So what's the first one? Well, first things first, you need some clothes. We should spend a day shopping. Ariel looks excited, but Leona looks dismayed. Shopping! The money that we tried to bring with us disappeared along with our clothes. Convenient. I'm afraid we have a little more than freeloaders in our present situation. I have more than enough money left over from my scholarships to cover our living expenses for all 7 days. After that, I'll have a job and I won't have to worry about it. I can make this work. Leona looks relieved, which sends Ariel bouncing on her heels. You seem very childish. Shopping, shopping, shopping! I have to look away. That thin white t-shirt doesn't cover anything as she hops up and down. I'm almost ashamed that this has to be our first date, but it must. I am not a pervert. I am not a pervert. I am not a pervert. I spare one last glass at her chest and look away. Okay, there. I'm definitely not. I'm reformed. Okay. My voice is tired. I am going to stop it here. Because, by jeez. By jeez. Not only is my voice sore, but we're just right into the thick of it on part 2. Oh boy! So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in part 3. Jackass, out!